Maybe.
What's happening, everybody? It's time for another Picks and Parlays Power Hour. We're talking all things football and throwing in a little bit of hockey for you as well. I've got three expert handicappers here today: Scott Rickenbaugh, Chip Chirimbus, and Craig Trapp, all here to give you the deets on what to be looking for over the weekend. But before we get started, I'm going to need y'all to do me a solid. If you could just like and subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. We've got tons of free content coming your way every single day. You want to be notified about it. That's money in your pockets, people. Free picks galore, and also more money in your pocket. If you're a new account and you get signed up with BetMGM, they're going to give you $1,000 in a risk-free first bet. And bonus alert, if you're in the state of Kansas, they're giving you $200 in free play money. You don't even have to deposit. You just download the BetMGM app on your phone. Use the promo code MORNING, MORNING. Use that promo code and it's going to get you hooked up with your $1,000 risk-free first bet and your $200 in free play. Do it. Okay, so we're going to get this party started. We're going to dip our toes into the pond. I'm bringing in Scott, the Bulldog Rickenbaugh. How's it going, Scott?
Doing well, Allie. How about you?
I'm rocking and rolling. I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. We got college football coming in, NFL last week of the preseason. Let's do this. And right on deck, we're going to have Stanley Cups, we're going to have hockey season. We got a while for the Stanley Cup, but the time that you bet on your Stanley Cup futures would be right around now. So break it down for me, Rickenbaugh. Who are you looking at as some Stanley Cup hopefuls this season?
Yeah, looking forward to the season. It is coming up quick, Allie. Like you said, I mean, before you know it, September, the training camps, and then hockey gets going in early to mid-October. So excited about this season. And when I started to look at these teams that are the true contenders, you know, the thing is, we have seen some repeats lately with Tampa Bay, and before that it was Pittsburgh. But to me, it is so hard to repeat. But again, I can't help but be looking at the Colorado Avalanche for this season. I think they're at least going to come out of the Western Conference and be able to represent in the Stanley Cup playoffs, championship, or the finals, I should say. But the thing is, I don't see them winning again. I'm one of those guys. I definitely don't look for the repeats. I think I almost eliminate them from the picture. But in this case, Colorado is such a strong team. Allie, I don't know what you think of them, but to me, they're the most dynamic team in hockey, and they showed that last season, and it was a phenomenal year for them.
Well, you know, I'm in Vegas, and Vegas Golden Knights have to play those guys. So they're not my favorite team, you know, not my favorite team to root for, but they're incredibly exciting to watch. They're so fast paced, and they're in a division where, I mean, or conference where they can get some business taken care of. So I do like that. You know, fun fact, our friend Detroit Lenny told me that every time the Avalanche have won the Stanley Cup, the following year, the Detroit Red Wings win it. So maybe we should be looking at a future on the Wings. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, I looked at the dark horse candidates, but Detroit is in a rebuild mode for sure, and they're getting better. They're looking good. Maybe they squeeze into the playoffs somehow this year, but I kind of doubt that. I mean, the odds are really against even making the playoffs, but definitely Detroit has a bright future, but not yet for this season. But I'll tell you who I am looking at from the East for this year. You know, the New York Rangers are my dark horse candidate because of a guy by the name of Shesterkin. Their goalie is phenomenal. He is absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, he's the reason that they went as far as they did last year. But the thing is, if they had not beaten Carolina in the playoffs, I really believe that Carolina would have knocked off Tampa Bay. And, you know, what ended up happening, Tampa Bay made it to the finals because they were able to get by the Rangers. But if Carolina had gotten in, I think they could have made it because they beat Tampa Bay 2 out of 3 last year. The only time the Lightning won was in overtime. And Carolina is just such a gritty, hard-nosed team. You know, their coach, Rod Brindamore, they all play. The way he played was, you know, so physical and tough and so demanding of everything. And he's put together a team that plays like how he played and has that same gritty ability to take over games. And they're built for the playoffs. That's the key. Is Carolina is the type of team that's built for the playoffs. And because when you're hard nosed like that, just like Brindamore is, you know, they are a tough team. And if their goalie hadn't got hurt in Game 7 of the series with the Rangers, their goalie got hurt in that game, they probably would have advanced and made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and played Tampa Bay. And then who knows what would have happened. So Carolina is my team to come out of the East this year and actually to win it all. That's the team that I would put my money on for a futures bet.
I love those tough, gritty teams. It's like they wake up in the morning and they eat, like they toast an English muffin and then they put a hockey puck on it, and that's their breakfast sandwich.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Eating hockey pucks for breakfast and stuff. So loving that. All right, so we like the Hurricanes to be the Stanley Cup champs, Western Conference champs, the Avalanche, and the dark horse for the Stanley Cup. We're looking at the Rangers, correct?
Yes, the Rangers are really a high quality team. They're well coached. And when you have a goalie like Shesterkin, now that's the key with futures that makes it so tough is an injury, a significant injury can completely derail your season. And if Shesterkin was to get hurt, I mean, that changes everything for the Rangers. But he is so good. I mean, the only other guy that's like him is Vasilevsky for Tampa Bay. Those are the two elite goalies in the league. And the Rangers have enough around him and are so well coached that I think that they're a threat for sure to get there again, and that they could. That's where I would put my money if I was putting it on a dark horse candidate.
Isn't that Gallant? Isn't it our old
Yes,
coach?
that's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, he was with Vegas. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we treated him poorly, and now he's gone, and he's with a better team. And no one's talking about BGK in this segment, are they? No, they're not. Vegas. No, they're not.
But Vegas is a quality team. I mean, they're going to be up there, but I don't see them, coming out of the West, not with Colorado there. Colorado's just so strong.
And so hungry. All right, so let's move into some NFL here. We're talking the Eagles and the Dolphins. This one's going down on Saturday, August the 27th. Dolphins are -2. Total on this one's 37.5. What do you got going on with this one, Rick and Bob?
Well, so the preseason's such a different animal. And of course, this is the final week of the preseason, which to me has always been really the toughest to predict because there's just so many, you see so many backups in this final week. It used to be week 4 was the final week. Now they've cut it to 3. And this third game is just really, honestly, these can be really tough to call. Right. But what I look at here is I look at the history and, the Dolphins, they tend to win in the preseason. Eagles the last couple of years have not been winning, and they snuck out a win last week. They won by a single point against Cleveland, but we had Cleveland plus the points there here on these videos, as a matter of fact, and we did get the cover there. Philly just doesn't win much in the preseason. Of course, they're a great regular season team, but the preseason comes down to the QB rotation, the depth of the teams, and I really like the way the Dolphins quarterbacks have been playing in this preseason. They've been great, and the rotation has played very well, and even though they came up just short last week, they had over 300 yards passing. And I think that ultimately Miami's going to find a way to pull out this game late. We saw the Eagles in week 1, they had that big lead against the Jets, and then they blew it and lost the game. Could see something similar here where even if the Eagles get up early, I think ultimately the Dolphins, the way that their second and third string quarterbacks have been playing through this preseason has been a difference maker for them. And I think it'll be the difference in this game as well.
All right, so taking the points.
No, laying the short number.
Points. I thought it was Eagles -2. My bad. Laying the short number. Would you just take this on the money line, or do you think laying the 2 is the way to go?
Well, see, that's the thing I was going to say is that, yes, there's 2 out there, but I think there's some 1.5 as well. This will be something to watch as game time approaches. And certainly, especially in the preseason, if I can find those money lines, -125 in that range on something like this, I would definitely switch it over and go to the money line, be looking in that -125, -130 range, because big difference between laying 2, of course, because you'll see a lot of games decided by 2. And so, it's nice to have that money line when it's a short enough difference like this. And I think we might see some -120, -125. I would sure jump on that.
All right. So great advice from a hot capper. Speaking of hot cappers, you are number 1 over at picksandparlays.net, the Picks and Parlays leaderboards. You are number 1 on our hot cappers list. This week, over the last 7 days, you are number 1, 21-12. You're up $763. So you're crushing it over there at the site. People, if you're looking for Scott Rickenbaugh's premium plays, head to picksandparlays.net. Use the promo code NFL. That's going to save you 20% off whatever is in your cart. You definitely want some of the hot plays from the Bulldog. Thanks for joining us on the Power Hour. Scott, we'll see you again next week.
Thanks a lot, Ali.
No problem. All right. So up next, we're going to have Chip Chirimbus. But before we get rolling, I've got to remind everybody to like and subscribe. Ring that bell for notifications. We're going to talk Rice and USC. We're going to talk Lions at the Steelers. And we're going to talk it with Chip Chirimbus himself. People, come on in, Chip. Oh, something is going on. Hi, there you are.
How you doing, Allie?
I'm fantastic. Good to see you, friend.
Well, it's good to be here, believe me.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we've got the Rice Owls. They're from Houston, Texas, so you know I love my Rice. USC, big changes over the offseason here. They're a huge favorite, minus 34.5 points. The total 63.5. What are you looking at on this one?
Big changes in the college landscape this year, and none bigger than at USC, where they have new coaches, new players, and a whole new attitude. As you know, USC has been in the doldrums of late. They just haven't been the national team that we've expected year in and year out. And it's getting old over there, and they're not happy in Los Angeles. But for Rice, every year it seems like they get cooked. They were 1-11 4 years ago, 2-11 the year after that. They've only won 4 games as a high. Last year, they were 4-8. This team's program just doesn't make it, and they're not getting any better either. Now, USC has a transfer, not only a quarterback with Caleb Williams, who came from Oklahoma, but the coach Lincoln Riley came as well, along with a whole slew of other players with this NIL appropriations for the players where they can get paid and leave anytime they want. So it seems, at least after a year. They get rid of Kendon Slovis, who's been transferred now, is going to be at Pittsburgh, I believe. But there's a whole slew of quarterbacks in college football that have made changes. Caleb Williams is one of them. He was spectacular last year. We saw him in a big comeback win. Now he's at USC with Lincoln Riley. I think this is a route. I think that the Trojans are looking to establish themselves, and what better team to come up with a patsy like this. And I think that the Trojans are just going to annihilate and destroy Rice. Now, remember, this game is on September 2nd, so you do have a few days to wait and get down on this. So it'll be USC over Rice, and I don't think it'll be close. And usually I wouldn't lay any kind of points like this, Ali, except that it is early in the season, and this is when it seems to happen, where the misfits just can't live up to the big-time players.
Well, especially when you're in a situation with Lincoln Riley and all these new players, they really want to come out and say, this is the new culture of USC Trojan football. This is how we roll now, and really assert their dominance. And Rice is a great team to do it on. You don't see anything. I mean, this isn't a situation where like they get out to a big lead in the first half and then they sit starters or anything, right? They want these guys to have reps and play, right?
I think the new regime at Southern Cal is looking to establish a dominance like they once had. And like you said, I don't think there's a better way to start your season than to have Rice on your plate.
Right. There it is. They're going to be all over you like white on rice. Yeah. Do you think this number might go up or down before kickoff? Like we said,
I would think it goes up. Even though it's a huge number, I would think it goes up. I don't think there's much interested in Rice here, especially with all the transfers that the Trojans have garnered over the offseason. So I think USC is in a route here. I look for them to get off big, get off fast, and to just continue the onslaught.
Okay, so if you guys like USC, take them now, because that number could easily turn into a 36 or a 37 or a God knows what. So we're going to take USC now, lay the points. We're going to deal with it. So let's move into some NFL action. I have a friend who's really into the Detroit Lions. I don't know if you've heard from Detroit Lenny, but he's a big Lions fan. It's the last week of the preseason. And when you're a Lions fan like him or a Texans fan like me, you rely on the preseason to get your wins, okay? Because once the regular season starts, it might be a little more difficult. We've got Lions taking on the Steelers. Pittsburgh's minus 4.5. The total is 38.5. What are we looking at here?
Well, you know, if you're talking about hopefuls, Detroit is one of them. I mean, after starting 0-10-1 last year, Dan Campbell actually had this team close the season at 3-3. They've gone 1-1 during the preseason. So Detroit is on the upswing, Lenny, and I hope you're happy about that. And Pittsburgh, who last year got off to that great start and then just, backdoored their way in, they've got a whole new situation here. Roethlisberger is gone. Rudolph was the quarterback in waiting, and yet they got Trubinsky there. And, of course, Kenny Pickett, your Heisman Trophy winner from the University of Pittsburgh. The Steelers now have a trio of quarterbacks. I think they're going to go with Trubinsky, and I think they're going to be very, very strong once the season starts. But right here, I think this is a big game for the Lions. I think the Lions want to establish, like you said, that winning attitude, and coming off going 0-10-1 last season. Even a preseason game at this level means something to them. It would give them a positive plight before their opening game at home against Philadelphia. I think Detroit is the side here. Of course, you got Najee Harris running the ball for Pittsburgh, but who's Pittsburgh going to play here, Allie? They're 2-0 in the preseason. I think that he's established what he wanted to establish. They haven't had a losing season under their current coach's tenure. So Pittsburgh right now, I think, was probably projecting into the opening game as opposed to thinking this is they're looking forward to closing the preseason 3-0. I don't think so. I think it means a lot more to Detroit.
All right, so there you have it. We're going to take some points with the Detroit Lions. Chip Chirimbus, you've been crushing stuff over at the site. How are your Megabuck plays doing?
Well, Major League Baseball, like the last 2 weeks, were 12-3, which is 80%. It's kind of profound winning record. And actually 3-0 in NFL action in the preseason Megabuck plays so far. And we have a big play Friday night. It's going to be my preseason game of the year. We only came up with one of those. And I like it for Friday if anyone can catch this in time. Otherwise, Saturday, we're going to have another Megabuck winner for you in NFL action.
All right, beautiful. Head over to picksandparlays.net, find Chip Chirimbus, use that promo code NFL. It's going to save you 20% off whatever you snag from Chip. Thanks so much for coming on the Power Hour. We've got Craig Trapp up next. See you soon, Chip. So before we get going along, let me remind you again to like and subscribe, ring that bell, and check out the Power Hour every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We've got lots of fantastic information here, valuable information to say the least. Craig Trapp, my friend, come on in hot. We're going to talk some TCU Colorado. We're going to talk Jags at the Falcons. How you doing, friend?
Been one of those good weeks headed into start of college football. I mean, we're finishing up NFL preseason, but nothing gets me excited more than when you have this week 0 and then week 1 following shortly behind it, where we start to see college football and how these transfers, the NIL, how that's going to affect us bettors and us handicappers.
I feel like there's a better name for week 0 out there, and I'm guessing it's week 1, and then we just make everything go down 1, and then crap makes sense again. Just saying. Just my 2 cents. So talk to me. This is a Friday game, Friday, September the 2nd. So a little bit in advance. TCU is minus 10.5 at Colorado. Total on this one's 55.5. What are your initial thoughts with this breakdown?
Well, I'm a little torn in this one because TCU, one of my favorite coaches, is no longer with us, at least at TCU, Gary Patterson. I mean, there was no better coach. Remember back when he won the Rose Bowl where you go from building up a program and putting it to where they have it now in the Big 12. I mean, that was all about Gary Patterson. Yet, of course, it wasn't enough for the TCU alumni, and he was pushed out. Now Sonny Dykes is in, which we've seen Sonny Dykes at a lot of different places. I'm not far from me. He started at Kentucky way back when as a assistant, and he's been everywhere. He did a really, really good job at SMU. Obviously, SMU very close to TCU. So excited to see what Sonny Dykes can do. I'm a little shocked we see him this big a favorite because Colorado at home, I thought last year they were 4-8. Yeah. They had some pretty decent performances. And with so much changes for TCU, I do think they have a little more talent. But, I always call Allie the king of underdogs. This looks a little too many points.
I would agree. Too many points. And you've got a home field advantage going on here, too, which I know only goes so far with certain teams. But when you play in places like Colorado, you've got altitude going on. Right. Obviously, Texas is much closer to sea level than Colorado is. 10.5.
Seems like a lot. Seems like a lot. I think you got to grab the points. And I would not be crazy if you sprinkle a little on the money line because this is week 0, week 1, week 2. When you see out of conference games, I mean, it's just, you're built to beat teams in your conference. That's just how your teams are built. So when you go outside of conference, weird things can happen, especially on the road. I like Colorado a lot with the points, but I wouldn't doubt if Colorado just kind of jumps on TCU early, by the time TCU kind of, gets it figured out under new coaching staff, maybe it's too late. So sprinkle the money line, but let's take the 10.5 with Colorado. So, but I do think for money line sprinkle fans like Allie, I know Allie loves her dogs. Like this is one that I think you should circle. And those Friday night games too, like they can get crazy. So this is a Friday night game in officially week 1, not week 0. That kind of crazy.
Is this the last game of the night?
I believe it is.
So it's probably also the slaughter game then too, which is like the last game of the night when all the money's on one side and it's everybody's last parlay on their ticket that they're going to hit.
Yep.
For that to be the actual slaughter game would mean that the dog has to win outright because everyone's just going to have TCU money line as that last play in their parlay. So that would have to not cash, meaning I like your sprinkle even more. Two-handed sprinkles. I'm with it. Okay, so let's move into the NFL. Jaguars, Falcons. Falcons are -4 here. Total's 36.5. This one's going down tomorrow, Saturday, the 27th. What are we thinking?
The Jaguars, I mean, a lot of people say, obviously, the Urban Meyer set them back a year or two. And, so let's throw out last year's stats because the Jaguars were just, he did not give them a whole lot of chance. Trevor Lawrence was running for his life. I thought his numbers were actually better than what they showed because of that. He's got a ton more weapons this year. But week 3 of the preseason, I don't expect to see any of those players for the Jaguars. If so, I mean 1 possession, maybe 2 possessions. But the Falcons, I actually think have looked better. I mean, let's remember the Jaguars also played in that Hall of Fame game, if you call it a game, 0-3 so far. So they're going for an 0-for in the preseason. The Falcons, they've looked better. They've looked a lot better. In fact, I hate to say this because I don't want to jinx them. If you're an Atlanta fan, don't be sending me the hate mail out. Send it to Allen. But this Falcons team, I think, is a sneaky pick to finish above 500 this year. I kind of like their win total over. I like the Falcons here. I think Ritter from Cincinnati has looked amazing. The first team offense is now, granted, I don't think we're going to see a lot of these players. I do think we'll see Ritter, but I don't think we'll see Mariota and those guys. But they've looked really good. And I think the key for Atlanta is they got to improve. Last year, they were the worst defensive team in football, or pretty much bottom 3 in every defensive category. They, especially rushing the passer, they have to play, I think, their defense a little more, especially the 2s and 3s. I think that favors the Falcons here. Let's lay the points with the Falcons. Don't go crazy. This is week 3 of the preseason, folks.
Right.
Don't go crazy with this.
Would you lean towards an over? I mean, I know the Jags Raiders went over in that week 0 Hall of Fame game. You said Falcons not known for their defense. Is this a spot where the Jaguars can get some points on the board? Maybe this goes over the total, or do we just lay off the total entirely because they've been so crazy in the preseason thus far?
Week 1, tons of overs, including and then the Hall of Fame game as well. Week 2, more unders than overs, I believe, or I think it was about 50-50. It was, so far, we've seen unders in the Thursday. I just think there's guys just don't want to get injured. And players and owners, everybody doesn't want anybody to get injured. I just don't think you're going to see a whole lot of offense. I'm not saying you play every under on the board, but if I was playing totals this week in week 3 of the preseason, I would be leaning towards almost every one of the unders. I just think, you just don't see good football out there. I think they would rather run the ball, run the clock, get out of this game. I think the Falcons are going to be better at that. That's why I like the points in the Falcons -4 more than I would like the under in the total.
All right. I do know one certain Mr. Sir Detroit Lenny who has teased every NFL game to the under for the Friday night game. So if you're out there, you want a little 4-team teaser, tease all the NFL games under, and then call Detroit Lenny when it doesn't cash. Or if it does, also call him and say, thank you, Lenny.
I had a little birdie that told me you were in my home state.
I was. I told
amazing.
you. I was the bird.
Pretty amazing, wasn't it?
I told you. It was so cool. I mean, first of all, Cleveland rocks. That's true. Cleveland totally rocked. And then I spent 4 days in Sandusky at Cedar Point and went on every roller coaster at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I defied physics for 4 straight days, Craig Trapp. It was incredible. I don't want to, like, I expected it to be fun and to have a great time. I didn't expect it to be that awesome. You know, I'm a Vegas girl. It takes a lot to impress me. And
if you like roller coasters, Cedar Point and then Kings Island is their other park here in Cincinnati. Yep. Both are just loaded with roller coasters. If you like roller coasters, Ohio's for you. They are about 2.5, 3 hours apart, but still, you can hit them both in one trip if you want to go. Cedar Point, but I won't say Cleveland rocks because Cleveland sucks.
Well, that's just because you're from Cincinnati. Look, I've got Cleveland mustard right here. Cleveland Stadium mustard right here.
It's a mistake on the lake. You just want to keep pushing that right into the lake.
That's what Lenny calls them too.
Yeah.
All
right. So hey, don't forget, state of Kansas.
The state of Kansas. Yes. I told them about the state of Kansas. I'm going to remind them again, though. State of Kansas just went live, everybody. So BetMGM, our official sponsor, is going to hook them up with a bonus promo for everybody out there, all new accounts. If you want to get hooked up with BetMGM, do it. Download it onto your phone, pop in the promo code MORNING, and they're going to give you up to $1,000 in a risk-free first bet. But if you're in Kansas, they're going to throw $200 in free play money into your account. You don't even have to make a deposit. It's pretty freaking awesome. So welcome to the party, Kansas. Welcome to
September
the jungle.
8th, I believe. September 8th is day one. But I believe that usually those free $200, they do them on what they call pre-signups. I believe that's probably only going to last for another 4 or 5 days. So if you haven't done it, you don't have to deposit. It's 100% free $200 just to try them out, check it out, and then when you're ready, you can deposit, and then that $1,000 free bet or no lose bet, not free bet, but no lose bet.
Risk free. It's risk free. It means you can bet anything you want up to $1,000.
No lose if you're playing my plays. I mean, it's no lose if you're playing my plays.
And if it loses, which Craig's place it can't, then they'll put it back into your account and you can play some more. Craig Trapp, you're number 3 on the site for all of 2022. You're up about $2,000 over at picksandparlays.net. How are you making all that money? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's $100 bettors up $2,000 bucks. So the dime bettors are up 20 grand. We've had a really good year. Unfortunately, didn't have 7-4 in the NFL preseason, but I did lose last night. But I'm bouncing back tonight. I like play Friday, Saturday in the NFL. Sunday, I'm not sure yet. Love one play in college football. Probably only going to have one premium play in college football for week 0. And not saying 0 money, but like I
call it week Oregon. It's week Oregon.
It's going to be a rough year for your Ducks, by the way.
I know. So bad. Go Houston Cougars.
But
Go Houston Cougars.
Make sure you check out. We got a couple new things, including the Power Hour. So if you haven't liked, subscribe, and follow us every day. But we have our new Mearsy Minute with our new girl, Hannah Mears, which is also one of our other hosts. And then we have, my daily 5 free picks. And then Allie's, of course, Morning Wood every day. And going to have some fun contests. I've got some ideas for the Morning Wood contest coming up for NFL and college football season. So
that's fun. Well, and let's not forget, you guys are all going to be able to follow along live because the Picks and Parlays pros are all going head to head in our own fantasy league. So me and Craig and Lenny and the Earl twins, Nick Parsons from the Insiders Room. It's on, y'all. It's on. We're all going head to head in fantasy. So we'll see what happens there. That'll be fun to follow along.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't done fantasy football in probably 4 years. My league, I did it for like 20 years. And then it was like the commissioner was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And rest of us looked at each other like, neither do we. So we disbanded. And I've been like a nomad looking for a fantasy football league. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it all shakes out. But more importantly, we're going to provide winners as far as bets are concerned this football season. And I'm super excited. We're and 21 hours now, 20 hours to the start of college football. So
when you put it that way, my heart fluttered. Holy cow.
You got to wake up early in Vegas to get, that early game in tomorrow. It's the best game on the board as far as I just
tape things on my DVR and then I fast forward through all the commercials. And then by the time that game's at halftime, I'm all caught up.
How can you live bet it then? You live betting it after the fact?
Live betting at 9 a.m. Lost your mind.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all the. We also are going to have some live betting action shows come the NFL season for all the primetime games: Thursday, Sunday, Monday. So your favorite picks and parlays personalities, including both of us, will be kind of intermixed. Depends on the. We'll all take our turns
Right.
because Allie, I know, is a huge in-game girl.
Yes.
And I think the last I heard, about 50% of wagers now are actually placed after the game start.
I believe it. I believe I if I could, I mean, I can not bet a game before it starts. I think that's the most profitable way of doing it. I really do.
It's like you do what you're winning at. So sometimes I just like, I like to do the upfront work, but I also partake, especially when I'm near a state. Like when I'm in Cincinnati, I can go over the border. Now, come January, when Ohio's legal, I'll be doing a lot more in-game betting. So I'm excited for that as well. So
it makes a big difference. But it's important still to do all your homework.
Yes.
Before you start in-play betting. We talked about this on Morningwood this morning. You still handicap your games. You still handicap and think, figure out what you think is going to happen. And then you're just getting yourself ready for, okay, if this team does go up early, like I thought they would, now I'm jumping on this or blah, blah, blah. Still got to do your cap because you got to create a game plan.
I think it's also important in early season for both college football and the NFL. You say college football, some of these teams are going to be playing two quarterbacks. One quarterback struggles early, gets down. That other backup maybe is the younger guy, but you have some high expectations. You think, so you feel like there's a bigger edge because they're going to be, making a switch at quarterback. Or say like the Pittsburgh Steelers, if Mitch Trubisky struggles, which I think he's going to get the job, he struggles early one game, and as good as Kenny Pickett looks so far, hey, Kenny Pickett come in, give him a spark. I think that's what you kind of got to know. Or, hey, a team struggles early, their defense is going to pick it up and figure it out, and you feel like, hey, they can shut a team down. That's where maybe you take advantage of a total one way or the other. So, there's a lot of different angles. But like you said, if you don't do the work ahead of time, you're just guessing during the game.
You're going off gut feelings, and sometimes that works out for you, but as a way to make money consistently, it's probably not the best direction to go.
Yeah. Hard.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're back in Vegas. It's time to go. It's go time. It's go time. Tate the Great. What did you say? I think saying Ohio is okay is not true. Well.
He's in Illinois.
A big week. Illinois plays Wyoming. Tate the Great, Wyoming. And then next week they have a big one too. So it's a back-to-back week for Illinois. We're going to see how good they are. That's the one thing. If you play week 0 and week 1, you could be really good or really bad. You could be 0-2. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that's just it, huh? All right, Craig Trapp, thank you so much for coming on the show. I will see you soon. I'll see you next week. Good luck this weekend, unless you're against Lenny, but good luck this weekend.
No. Bye.